Can one Bitcoin, just one Bitcoin, can it make you a millionaire? Can it make you rich? Well, in this video, I'm going to discuss just that exact very topic, looking at a bunch of different numbers and points of view, trying to determine if that one Bitcoin can indeed make you a millionaire one of these days. My name's Lark. Every day I make videos talking about cryptocurrency investing, so if that's a topic that you would like to learn some more about, then make sure that you subscribe to the channel, gently tap on the thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm, and click on the notification bell to know when I put out a new video. So let's go ahead and get straight into this topic. And obviously, we have to start off with the simple fact that if you can actually afford to go out and buy one Bitcoin today, congratulations, you're already rich. Because one Bitcoin is worth more than the average annual income of the majority of the world's citizens. So if you have that kind of disposable income sitting around where you can afford to invest into one Bitcoin, you're rocking it already. Congratulations. So just understand, getting rich from buying Bitcoin's highly subjective, but we want to talk about the millionaire goal. Can you become a millionaire? And I just want to remind you about this before we dive into the different numbers here, that in my mind, buying Bitcoin, it's not so much about getting rich. I mean, that's a cool side effect that I'm definitely going to take. But it's really about not going poor slowly with fiat. That's a very important point that I want you to remember throughout this video. It's not all about getting rich, guys, although that's pretty sweet too. So is one Bitcoin enough to make you a millionaire, to get rich? We're assuming, for most people, the goal of being a millionaire, that's getting rich. Well, if you can buy that one Bitcoin, is it going to make you rich? Yeah, probably. Is it going to make you a millionaire? Maybe not. Maybe not. My estimate is that Bitcoin is going to end up rivaling the market cap of gold. That gives us around a $550,000 Bitcoin with around a $10 trillion market cap. That's around 15x from the current price of Bitcoin. That's incredible. I mean, if you buy one Bitcoin today in the $30,000 range, in let's say 5 or 10 years, it's worth $550,000 per coin. Nice. Nice. That's not making you a millionaire, but nice. I like that. That's pretty gosh darn amazing. A $550,000 Bitcoin, that's approximately a $515,000, $520,000 return on your investment within a decade. I mean, those are some pretty incredible gains. Not going to lie about that. That's pretty gosh darn awesome. Not a millionaire, though. Not a millionaire, though. Bit shy of that. But if we start to think about, the forces of inflation and all that stuff, can Bitcoin hit $1 million down the road? It's possible. It's possible. I mean, $1 million Bitcoin. If you don't believe in the dream of the $1 million Bitcoin, what are you doing here anyway, right? I look at Bitcoin as a long-term investment. Whether it does hit $1 million someday or hits $550,000 one day or not, it's a long-term investment. I'm getting into Bitcoin on a similar thesis to getting into gold. It's a way to diversify away from cash. It's what I believe a very undervalued asset, considering that I do believe it is going to go up to rival the market cap of gold, meaning it's got another 15x before maybe we see some kind of price plateau coming in for Bitcoin. That's the $550,000 Bitcoin, right? Long term, maybe that's 5 years, maybe that's 10 years from now. Sometime in this decade, I think we can get up to rival the market cap of gold. Now, a $1 million Bitcoin, maybe things really start going crazy. Inflation goes through the roof. A lot of money starts coming into the market, more than we can possibly imagine. A $1 million Bitcoin. Is that possible? It is possible. It is possible. Let's just keep that in mind. That would be around a $20 trillion market cap for Bitcoin. Maybe closer to 19 or 18.5 trillion. But a lot. It would be a very, very big market cap, approximately twice the market cap of gold. So we're talking some incredibly big numbers here when we start talking about a $1 million Bitcoin. Is that $1 million Bitcoin possible? Yes, it is possible, but it's probably not the most likely scenario on any sort of shorter time frame. And I know we're talking about taking a long-term investment, but are you willing to wait 20 years for a $1 million Bitcoin? Some of you are going to be willing to wait that long for a $1 million Bitcoin. I'm going to be holding Bitcoin still in 20 years, so maybe I will get to experience the $1 million Bitcoin as a Bitcoin holder. God willing, I stay nice and healthy and live that long, obviously, but it could come. But let's not depend on the $1 million Bitcoin within this decade. I think if you're taking a 5 to 10 year time frame, $1 million, probably a bit too optimistic. By the way, if you want to make some sweet, safe, and simple passive income on your cryptocurrencies, you need to get yourself a BlockFi account. You can earn 4% on your Bitcoin, 4% on your Ethereum, and 7.5% on your dollar stablecoins like USDC. And they've got a sweet new credit card that's come out that allows you to get extra earnings on your stablecoin lending as well as Bitcoin back rewards every time you swipe your card. Use the link down below in the description to start your account, and you can get up to a $250 Bitcoin bonus when starting your account and making your first deposits. Now, really the easiest way to become a Bitcoin millionaire is to just buy $1 million worth of Bitcoin. Obviously. Come on, Lark. What are you talking about here? No, realistically, we could see Bitcoin pulling a 10 to 20x by the end of the decade. That, at 10x, we're talking around 400,000. At 20x, we're talking maybe 650,000, 660,000, something like that. So if you're expecting to get rich quick, Bitcoin is not the investment necessarily to do that. Although, if you think about it, a 10x investment within 10 years, that blows away anything you're going to get on the stock markets. I mean, if you invest in an S&P 500 index fund, 7% a year is kind of the average. So within that 10-year period, you will have doubled your money invested into the stock market. With Bitcoin, you're going to dramatically outperform that. It's funny because in crypto, and I just want to mention this real quick, in crypto, we talk about a 10x investment within 10 years, as an example, as being boring. Oh, only 10x in 10 years. Come on, man. Come on. I'm here for the 100x overnight, man. Realistically, if you compare this to traditional asset investing, a 10x in 10 years is fantastic. That's fantastic. If you put $100,000 into Bitcoin today, in 10 years, it has a very, very high likelihood of being worth $1 million. Of course, you have to have $100,000 to invest first, but still, that's pretty gosh darn amazing. If you put 10 grand in, it's going to end up being worth $100,000 in 10 years. Again, assuming a 10x, right? This is where you should be thinking with your Bitcoin investment. Don't look at it as a get-rich-quick scheme, right? Look at it with a longer time frame. The best way, of course, to get exposure to Bitcoin, dollar cost averaging in, buying a little bit on a regular basis. Not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a not go pour slowly scheme, and also you're going to be trading your bad money for good money over time. But look at this. If you can get one Bitcoin, you are going to put yourself into an elite category of investors. There are less than 700,000 Bitcoin addresses that have one Bitcoin or more. That means that there's probably only around 500,000 people, or even less, who have one Bitcoin or more, because some people are going to have 2 or 3 or 4 addresses. Most people will just have one address, but there will be people with multiple addresses out there too. If you can get that one Bitcoin, if you can have that goal to have one Bitcoin, then you are going to get your ticket secured onto the rocket ship to the moon. So here's my opinion on how much Bitcoin you probably realistically need to become a millionaire this decade. 2 Bitcoin. Right now, today, that's going to set you back between, let's say, $60,000 to $80,000, depending on where the price of Bitcoin is when you watch this video. That's a lot of money. But if you can afford that, then I think you have a very, very high chance of turning those 2 Bitcoin into $1 million by the end of this decade. Probably much sooner than that, to be honest. But let's just, not get too much hopium into this conversation here, and we'll talk about that longer time frame. So let's say by 2030, that $60,000 to $80,000 investment that it takes you to buy those 2 Bitcoin, that could become $1 million by the end of the decade. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty nice return on investment. Maybe it goes a bit higher. Maybe it goes higher quicker. Maybe things are move a bit slow and you only get a 9x by the end of the decade. Tough times. So 2 Bitcoin, I think that's what you need to become a millionaire. If we get up to the market cap of gold, $550,000 Bitcoin, that's approximately where you'll be looking at. Now, here's an interesting note for you about dollar cost averaging. If you had started dollar cost averaging at the peak of the previous bull run, bought $100 of the Bitcoin every single week, including during this previous peak where Bitcoin was up at $60,000, $65,000, every Friday, like clockwork, you're buying $100 worth of Bitcoin, you would have accumulated in that time 2.5 Bitcoin. You would have invested around $20-some thousand during that time. Congratulations, you have a very, very high likelihood, in my opinion, of becoming a millionaire in the next few years, and you only had to spend $20,000 to do it. That's the power of dollar cost averaging. You get a good average price on an asset over time, and you take the long-term view on it. So it's very, very powerful stuff. And a final note before I end this video. Altcoins are much more speculative than investing in Bitcoin or investing in Ethereum. I think we'd equally apply much of this conversation to Ethereum. Obviously, the number of Ethereum you would need to own would be different, but I look at this as one of the blue chip assets in crypto, one of those that they've made it, right? Their position is much, much more secure than the majority of the coins on the market, which remain highly, highly speculative. But if you want to get that 100x return, you're not going to do it with Bitcoin and you're not going to do it with Ethereum, at least not in any reasonable scenario across any reasonable time frames. The numbers are too big, the math's too crazy. Maybe by the end of the century, we're going to see a 100x return on Bitcoin. Cool. Maybe with life extending technologies, I'll be around to see that. That would be sweet. Still making me, I remember buying Bitcoin back in 2021 and now it's gone up 100x more. We'll see. But realistically, if you want to get the really, really big returns, you do have to take more risk in this market. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're the safe investments. They're the blue chips, if you will, of crypto. If you want to get those big returns, you got to get into the altcoin jungle, fight the savagery in there, and of course, try to find the gems within that jungle to get the big returns. And there's been great returns on some really good altcoin investments. Polygon, great example. On the channel, I've been talking about that since earlier this year. You could have bought it for 2 cents when I started talking about it. It got up to like $2.50 recently. That's 100x in under 6 months. Incredible stuff. That's the power of crypto. These markets are insane. They're super volatile, and the pumps that happen are mind-blowing. But you have to realize that a lot of these cryptocurrencies, a lot of these altcoins, are not necessarily good long-term investments. And that's not because, they're all scams or whatever. The reality is, we're looking at a situation here where probably 70 to 90%, maybe even higher than 90% of these altcoins long-term are going to fail. And it's not because they're all scams, right? Some of them are scams. There is that. Unfortunately, we do have scamming going on, things that appear legitimate at the start. They end up pulling exit scams on you. This stuff does happen. But what happens more often than not, they just suck, right? They fail to deliver the technology. Their team has infighting and it all falls to pieces. whatever happens, right? It's too early, the wrong market fit, they can't convince people to use it, it's too similar to existing products that are simply too dominant in the market, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot of reasons why altcoins fail, and it's not because they're all scams. And if anyone's telling you every altcoin's a scam, don't listen to that person. Find somebody else to get your information from, because it's simply not true. But there is a very high failure rate among altcoins, which is exactly why I take profits from altcoins, move those profits back into Bitcoin, move those profits back into Ethereum, move those profits into USDC, which I then put into things like BlockFi to earn some sweet passive income, and I move that money out of crypto, straight out of the crypto markets, into my bank account or into stocks, right? To diversify away from the crypto market. Here's a fun fact for you. During the 2018-2019 bear market, well, the entire crypto market, which is getting savaged, everyone lost interest, all the prices plummeted like crazy. The S&P 500 went on to make a new all-time high 5 separate freaking times before Bitcoin went on to make a new all-time high. If you had been investing in stocks during that period, you would have been slaying it. So that's something for you to think about. This is why I diversify away into a non-correlated asset like the stock market. So something for you to think about. Anyway, what do you think? Am I right? Is 2 Bitcoin the right number? Is that how much Bitcoin that you need to become a millionaire this decade? Or is it only 1 Bitcoin? Will 1 Bitcoin make you rich? Will it make you into a millionaire by 2030? Or maybe it's more. Maybe you think Bitcoin's not going to go that high. Maybe you need 4 or 5 Bitcoin. Let me know how much Bitcoin you think that you need to become a millionaire by the end of the decade. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.